As you probably know, creating integration between two software applications takes a lot of time. It can cost a lot of money and yeah, it can be a lot of trouble sometimes. You also have to maintain it after. It can be quickly a nightmare. So that's why in Odoo we wanted to give you the opportunity to creating simple integration directly from the user interface. Hello, my name is Quentin. I'm a business analyst and I'm part of the Studio Expertise team here at Odoo. And today I want to show you how you can synchronize data using webhooks. Before we start, as usual, you have the QR code here on the slide. If you have any question, you can just scan it and we'll take some time at the end to answer them. So for the agenda of this session, we'll first have a look quickly at what's a webhook to be sure that we are all aligned on this. Then we will have a look at what are the advantages to use a webhook here in Odoo, and then we have a concrete use case. So what's a webhook? Let's take, to have a simple example, let's take one application. We'll just call it application 1. In this application, at some point, we will have what we call a webhook event. What is this webhook event? It will be any action that will happen in the application that you will define. Basically, when you have this webhook event, we will send some information to a URL, and this URL was given by a second application here, just application 2. As soon as application 2 will receive the information or the notification, the application will be able to proceed to one or several actions that they will define on their side. So really easy, just we have one webhook event in the first application, we send the information to the second application, and then they will be able to trigger all the actions that they want. So what are the advantages? The advantage will be that you can have real-time data transfer with webhooks. Also, as you saw, we will be able to trigger a complete workflow right after. And the advantage that I will show you after is that if you want at some point to modify one of these flows, it's kind of easy to do it, especially here in Odoo. One important note here, if you want to use Odoo as I will show you in the example, you will have to install the Studio application. Why? Because these webhooks are handled through the automation rules in Studio. So we will basically have two types of action. The first one will be a trigger on webhook, so you will be able to generate a URL on which you can send information and then just trigger the actions that you want in your database. And we have another one, which is of course the opposite. You will be able to send webhook notification to an address, to a URL that you received. But we'll have a look more in detail directly with a demo. So I have here a first Odoo database, and the use case will be simple. I'm just a company, I'm selling some products, and after that, if my customers have any issue, they will be able to create help desk tickets. So I need to manage this help desk, which is here. I have one help desk team. And here for now, I have like really a simple pipe. I just have several stages. This one, it's in progress, so basically maybe I receive a ticket, I can handle it by myself, so that's perfect, we can do that internally. But in some cases, I might want to go on-site to do an on-site intervention on the product to fix it. Unfortunately, I'm not able to perform this action by myself, so I'm working with a subcontractor. So the idea would be that as soon as I move a ticket in this new subcontractor stage, I can notify my subcontractor that they have some intervention to do. I will show you in practice. So here, let's say that I have a customer calling me, so I will create the ticket manually. It didn't give me a lot of information, so it just said like, I have a big issue. And I will set the customer. The customer was Odoo here. I can type a description. This issue is really urgent. And here, as an employee from the help desk, just I'm noticing that this issue, I cannot handle it by myself. So what I want to do, I want to move it to the subcontractor stage. So that's it on my side on this database. For my subcontractor, he's a smart guy, so he's also using Odoo, and I have his database right here. He is using field service to manage his interventions. So let's have a look at the field service application. Remove the filters. And you can see that I have this task. I have a big issue that was just created right now. So as soon as I move it to the right stage, it was created in the Odoo database. I have all the information, the title, the description here. I have the customer Odoo with the address. I have request ID, which is a studio field that I created. It's just the ID of the helpdesk ticket so that I have some sort of common key to be able to communicate easily between the two databases. So here I'm in the field service. I have all the information I need. I can process. This is just standard field service flow, so I won't spend time on this. But the idea is that, okay, I will plan this and then I will go on site to do the interventions. And same here, what I would like to do is that as soon as it is done, I would like to notify the helpdesk. So here I will just add something in the description, some comments. Issue is fixed. And I will move it to the done stage. Now let's go back on the database with the helpdesk. This is my ticket. I will just refresh the page. And you can see that directly here, the ticket was moved to the solve stage, and I have the description that was as well updated directly. So this is how it works. Let's see now how we can configure that. So as I explained in the beginning, you will need Studio. So I need the automation rules. I will just access them right there. So these are all my automation rules in my database, and this is the one I want to check right now. So basically, I'm on the helpdesk ticket model, and the only trigger that I want is to say that a certain action must happen whenever I move a ticket to the subcontractor stage. This action will be send a webhook notification. So, so here, what you must populate as a field, you have here the URL. I will show you after, but this one was given by the database of my subcontractor. And then I will have to choose which info I want to send to my subcontractor. So here you have an example on the right, and here on the left you can just add all the fields that you want. So here I decided to add description, the subject, the customer phone, and also a field called payload. The payload field, it's a Studio field that I added. I created it with Studio, and so you can see that I can create new field with Studio and just put them here also in the information that I will send. Why did I create this field? Because one of the current limitations is that the field I can select here, these are all fields that you have on the these are all fields that you have on the helpdesk ticket model. So for example, on the helpdesk ticket model, I have the customer, but I don't have his street, his country, or something like that. What solution would be to create related field with Studio, but it could be a lot of new fields to be created. So what I decided to do, I can show you right here. Let me go back on one of my tickets. This one, for example. I decided to create this payload field. And basically, this is a field I computed with Python code to just find back all the information I want to my customer, so I have everything in one single field. So now I will send this notification to my subcontractor. And on his side, he will of course also have to set up an automation. So I will again go back in the automation rules here. And this is this one. So this time, I'm in the field service app and I want to create a task, so my model is the task model. And the trigger will just be on webhook. As soon as I select this trigger, Odoo will just give me a URL, and this is the one I specified right here. Of course, this URL should be kept secret, just share it with the people you need to. What you can see here is that we are able to log the calls also, so meaning that if I check this, here in the smart button on the top, I will be able to have the logs of all the calls that we did using this detection. It's also helpful. For example, you can see that at the beginning I was testing it, I had some error, so I get the trace back and I can then fix it directly. The last field I want to show here is the target record field. In my case, I don't really need it because the idea is that you could select target a specific record in database and apply your action on it. But here I just want to create new task. But you still need a value in there because this expression must point to an existing record in the database. So I just put the contact with the ID number 2 because it is linked to my user, so I know it will always exist. So that's for the trigger, and so when I receive information through the webhook, I can now execute my code. Is it big enough? Yeah. Here I won't go through all the lines, so it's not the goal of the talk, but to do it quickly here, the idea is that I want to get the JSON, and then I want to manage the exception, so to be able to get the error if I have any. Then I have to think about what I need to do. I want to create a new task and I want to link it to a customer. So first I will check that I have the customer created in my database. If it's not the case, I will just create it here using all the information I received in the payload. Then again, same for the task. I will check if there is already a task related to this ticket. If yes, I will just update the name and the description and the customer to make sure that we are up to date with the new info. If it's not the case, I will just create a new one, again, using all the information I get in the payload. If you remember well, we had a second action. So the idea was when the task is done on the field service app, I was able to notify again the help desk. And of course, this is exactly the same ID, but this time just the other way around. So here I'm in the field service in the subcontractor database, and this time I will send the webhook from this database. So again, the trigger here is quite easy. I just want to send the webhook notification when the stage is done, and then I will select all the fields I want to send. Here I just need the description and the request ID. As a reminder, it was the ID of my helpdesk ticket, so that my partner can easily know which ticket is matching this request. And now if I go back on the helpdesk database, I will have, of course, an action now that must receive, that must be triggered by this webhook. So again, I had this URL generated. I will log the calls. Here, target record is exactly the same as before. And this time in my code, I will just check if I have indeed a ticket related to the webhook I received. And if it's the case, I will update the description and update the stage so that I know that everything is done. So here I'm showing you how it works between two Odoo databases because it was easier for me to do it between two Odoo databases. But of course, you could totally do that with other software or applications, as long, of course, as they are able to receive or send webhook notifications. One last point that I wanted to show you, as I said, one of the advantages of this is that you can easily modify it. If at some point you want to change your workflow, so let's imagine that here in my helpdesk pipe, I realize that I often have issues when the tasks that were sent to the subcontractor. So I still want to first check with the customer that everything was indeed done before marking it as solved. I could just here at the stage, let's call it to check. I will move it here between subcontractor and solved. And then the only thing I have to do, I just want to check the ID of this new stage I created. So here it's ID number 6. And the only thing I have to do is just go in my automation rules, just change the ID here in my code. I can save, and we're done. Not more complicated than that. So here, that's what I wanted to show you about this use case. I hope you will be able to apply this in one of our projects, that it will be useful. If you have like a specific use case, or if you want to discuss further this use case that I show, you can come to the 07 at the Studio Expertise booth. We will be there also with the product owner of Studio if you want to have a look with us. But in the meantime, if you have any questions, again, feel free to scan the QR code here, and we'll take a few minutes to answer them. Thank you.
Hi, Quentin.
Hello.
Thanks for this presentation. We already have lots of questions, so I propose we jump on them directly. The first question is, how do you budget for outbound webhooks in the resource allocation formula in case of self-hosting?
So how do you budget for webhooks in the resource allocation formula?
Maybe the person can precise a bit the question. The time we go to the second one, which is, what if database 1 has custom fields that database 2 doesn't have?
The idea is that in the payload you will have, I can show you here. Like this is an example, for example, Xstudio payload. This is a field I created on the second database, but it doesn't exist on the first one. So as soon as I have, as I know what are the info that I will have in this Xstudio payload field, I know in my database to which field which field I want to match it. So it's a bit like if you are doing any integration, you won't have the same field in the two applications. So you have to do a mapping of the fields to know how to handle it.
Okay, so we have a question regarding the JSON widgets. Is this on Odoo 18? And if so, can it be shown in Odoo 17?
For the JSON widgets, I'm not sure about this one. I guess it's related to something else on Studio. So I know who asked this question, but if you want, we can discuss it like further with the product owner of Studio at the booth right after.
All right, and we had another question. This connection, does it have any type of security?
Here, you just have the URL, so that's why you should not share it with anyone. But yeah, to be honest, if you have like more specific security about this URL, we will have to check. So again, if you want, come at the booth, and we can check with the product owner or the developers that will be there.
Okay. How to select target record dynamically based on the data you received?
Yeah. So the idea is that I think that if I create a new one, small connection issue. Okay, we're back. So let's create a new one, and here trigger on webhook. For example, here you have an example of which expression you could use, and basically you can find information from the payload directly. So if you have, I don't know, an ID in the payload that you receive, you will be able with the expression here to get this ID and to target a specific record. And while you are creating your automation, you have here more info about the variable that you can use.
Okay. Can we access to those webhooks outside Odoo? I mean, from internet, called externally?
Can we access to this website outside Odoo? I mean, from there. I'm not sure to understand. I mean, here the point is like you have to send information to this URL. That's the only way to communicate. But I'm not sure to understand fully the question here.
Okay, so maybe we can come here after the session. Do you plan to change targets record with this fake model? It would be better to just choose something like create new record.
I know it was an idea to remove completely this field at some point. And I think that if you look at my slide, it's not even on it because I thought we would remove it. But it was more complicated than expected, so it's still in discussion. It's indeed in our pipe, but yeah, not right now for Odoo 18.
And how do you handle asynchronous webhooks? Meaning, what if the target service is not available?
This one, yeah. For me, I will have to check also the product owner, but for me here, you need the service available to make it work.
All right. Can you use webhooks in a multi-company environment?
Yeah, sure. That's not an issue. You just need Studio, and even if you are in multi-company environment, you can use them. Of course, in your code, just make sure that you impact the right company while doing it.
All right. Can you set up webhooks by code, or is it only with Studio?
Here, what I'm showing, it's only with Studio. Now, if you want to use webhooks in another way, then of course you can like create custom modules, but then we are out of the standard Odoo scope.
All right. Is it possible to define the base JSON payload?
No, here, if you are talking about the payload that we have, let me get back here. The example that we have here, no, it's automatically defined by Odoo. You won't be able to change that. The only power that you have on this is the field that you can select here on the left.
Then can you add certain headers to the webhook?
No,
All
same answer.
So many people are asking, does it exist in Odoo 17? So I assume they need to...
In 17, it's already there. You just need the Studio application to be able to use it.
Okay. How to identify the company from which the webhooks was triggered in a multi-company environment? So for example, the customer Palmentium term can differ per Odoo company.
Yeah. If you want to define a company, I mean, you could here I just made a simple action, like the only trigger is when the stage is set to done. But you can of course add a domain here, and if you have the company ID field on your model, then you can just set a domain based on this field to make sure that you impact the right company.
All right. And what happens if you lose? Do you lose your event if the server receiver is not
it's a bit a same question that before. We would have to double check the product owner. So again, if you want to come at the booth, we can check this.
Okay. On the receiving JSON endpoint, what's the best practice for an API user account credentials and rotation?
Here we are more in the API question, so more a question for developers if you want. So you can check that with them.
All right. Does it use HTTP workers?
Yeah, same. It's getting a bit too technical, so we can. If you come at the booth, we have also developers there, so we can discuss it. No problem.
And lastly, how authorization is handled from A to B endpoints?
Not sure to understand fully the question either here. So yeah, if you can maybe be more precise, and I'll be also right here if you want to come to me, we can discuss it together.
Yes. That's it.
Yeah.
Thank you,
Thank you,
Quentin, and please come by if you have more questions.